Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa Rabbil Alameen. Akibatun lil Mustaqim. Wala Ifrana ila wa ala dalimin. Muhammadan huwa Sayyidina Mahbubana. Innahu kana Sayyidin Mursaleen. Salawatu Allah ta'ala wa salamu alayhi. My dear brothers and sisters, I will begin today on another chapter talking about the intentions. And this is lesson 5. And hopefully we will get something out of this and learn from it. And let me give you my greetings, the proper greetings. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi, yalikwani wafati fidin. Salamu ala mani taba huda, yalikwani wafati في أفريقيا وأوروبا أمريكا Caribbean Asia وكل مكان. أهلا وسهلا بكم. Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, we have a very difficult choice that we have to make as Muslims in this turbulent times in the West, in Muslim lands, everywhere there, we have these problems. And the intentions that we never talk about. You don't hear anybody really actually going into the intentions. The scholars paid a lot of attention to this because they wanted to make sure that the future generations would clean up their salat in particular and clean up their intentions. We have a wonderful religion, and Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has blessed and rightfully guided many precious scholars of every era. And if you read the Quran, he talks about his love for the ulama, the scholars, the students of knowledge, the ufakir, the intellectuals among us. And he loves them, and he gives them special recognition inside the Quran. And so they have made many determinations to help us to clean up our intentions. I know this is mundane for a lot of people, a lot of Muslims, because they don't want to hear this. For them, they don't care about the intentions, but you're going to be held responsible for it because Subhanahu wa Ta'ala does care about the intentions because he mentions it, and he makes promise to us about this issue, and he warns us also about this issue in Surah 59. Verse 23, and he doesn't like anything being assigned to him. This is why your intentions, especially in the salat, have to be clean. And we went through the other day here about the split intentions where the brothers and sisters will ornament themselves or please the crowd, and at the same time perform their acts with trying to please Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. This verse here should give you a clear warning. He doesn't like that. And he made it clear here. That person is yushrikun. He's assigning partners to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. He doesn't like that. So we have to be very mindful of that, brothers and sisters, that we must clean up our intentions. Again, I know it's mundane for many people. They don't want to hear about it. They don't even want to learn about it. For them, they get up, they do their normal chores to go to work, or they make their salat. That's all they care about. But Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, when you understand the Quran, this religion is very, very deep, but it's very simple. And he had all the malaises of the heart. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has talked about it, and our Prophet has guided us. So we should be made well aware of our intentions and how we can clean up and purify our intentions. So with that said, with this verse here, you investigate it, you look at it, and this is the proof, the bayana from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala about this issue. So now we start here. The hadith from our prophet emphasizing that the intention is a yardstick to making one's action sound. Secondly, if the intention is correct, the action from it is correct. That's self-explanatory. If our intentions, we're inside the house, we hear the adhan sound off. The sister and the brother goes to make their wudu. They have the cleanliness of the heart and the mind, and they decide, okay, now I'm going to. The brother said, I'm going to go to the masjid. The sister, who is rewarded for her prayer inside her room, this is her greatest reward, and so she goes to her room to prepare herself for the prayer. These actions in itself, so the intention will lead to the correct action. You see what I mean? This is why I said in Islam we have a lot of issues. We have deeper meanings, so that will help. You can't find this in other religions, but ours, we have this, and to help our brothers and sisters and future generations to make sure that their actions stay as clean as possible, especially for salat, because salat is very, very important, that we master that, not just by doing the physical act of it, but by what leads to it. From the intention to the wudu, from walking to the masjid, or the sister she heard the adhan, but she's cooking the afternoon meal for the family. She goes to make wudu, she goes to cook, but she still have the intention because she wants to feed the family, and her husband's going to come home after salat door, say for instance, and so she's cooking the food for him because he may have to go back to work as well. So she's doing what she's supposed to do. Her intention is good and pure, because Subhanahu wa ta'ala loves that, because he sees that the Muslimah, she's taking care of the family. She's fixing the food. She go prepare herself for wudu, and her intention is good that she makes the salat. So she finishes the food, and now it's time for her to go make her prayer. She goes to her room to make her prayer. She's rewarded immensely for this. My dear sisters, you are immensely rewarded for this. Your husband comes home, he eats his meal, or your children come home from school, they eat their meal, and this is greatly rewarded. The intention on our sister's part is beautiful. It's good, and it's in a pure sense, because one, she's pleasing Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to see the Muslimah please him, but also take care of her family, take care of her husband, take care of the children. He loves this. And that's why the sister, her road to Jinnah is so much simpler, but she makes a lot of sacrifices. Subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that. The 9 months that she has to carry the child, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowing. He knows us. So he balances everything out. He gives her easy road to Jinnah. But on the same token, he gives the strength and power and leadership role to the man. So everything balances out. You see what I mean? This is what the beauty of our religion, how it's explained. So the intention, if the intention is good, the action will follow it. And this is a prime example of our dear sister inside the house. She's fixing the food. She has to go fix the food. Her husband's coming home after salat. The children be coming home. She's doing that. She go make her wudu. She still have the good intention to please Subhanahu wa ta'ala. She finishes the food and she goes to her room to make the salat. This is a beautiful example of what we're talking about, how the actions are a yardstick to making one's actions sound. That is a beautiful example of that. So the second part, if the intention is wrong, the action follows the bad intention. Let me give you a prime example of that, my brothers and sisters. This is why our enemies don't tell our brothers and sisters who go and work for them or go to assist them these things, because they believe that all they have to do is, they go and assist the enemies against Islam, and they go after their brother, and they figure that it's okay, because I go make my prayer, if it's okay. No, it's not. Because here, look, the scholars have determined something. They said the intention is wrong, the action follows the bad intention. If this person is calling you and telling you, I want you to go now and do certain things against the Muslims in LA, the intention is wrong. The action behind it is what? The bad intention. Right? It's bad intention. The action behind it is wrong. The action follows it is wrong. You see what I mean? So this is why we have to keep our intentions clear. We have to keep it clear, and we have to keep it sound, and we have to, the sincerity and the truthfulness have to be there. You cannot have this when you're dealing with the enemies of Islam. You just cannot. You go to assist them. You go to work with them. You go to hang around with them. You cannot have good intentions. You cannot, because you have to understand something, brothers and sisters. You look what Subhanahu wa ta'ala said repeatedly inside the Quran. He said what? He has hell, he has what? Jahannam ready for them. So how can you hang around with the people that Subhanahu wa ta'ala hates? And he said he has hell waiting for them. He has ready for them. So what do you think? So how, if you go around them and you go around the hypocrites, or you go around people who sell drugs, or you go around the people who are doing things, how can you have good intentions to make your salat when you're hanging around with the gangsters? Or you hanging around with the disbelievers or the enemies of Islam? I'm not talking about any disbeliever. I'm talking about those who fight the Muslims. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any disbeliever, because we have friends, family that are disbelievers, but they don't fight us. I'm talking about the enemies of Islam. You go around them and you gravitate towards them. You take them as friends and followers and protectors. You're outside. You're in bad shape. So this is a prime example, brothers and sisters, to help you when your intention is wrong. The action follows the bad intention. It's true. That is a prime example. The guy who says, I have no money now, and some disbeliever, a Salibi crusader, comes to him and says, look, I got something for you here. You can make say $5 per day doing what I ask you to do. I want you to go in your car. I want you to follow these Muslims. I want you to go here and do this. I want you to go to the masjid in LA. I want you to go and look in there and make a report to me. You see what I mean? All of these intentions here will lead you to the fire. Because one, you have the association with those that Subhanahu wa ta'ala say he has Jahannam ready for them. This is coming from our Ilah. He says he's got Jahannam ready for them. So how can you have the good intention? I hope that explains the analogy to this, brothers and sisters. You go around the wrong people, they will destroy your intentions. Your good intentions, your sound, sincere, truthful intentions will be destroyed. Because why? They're hovering around the devil. You cannot maintain that. Okay, so the good intention for salat incurs Subhanahu wa ta'ala's bounty. Brothers, sisters, you get rewarded big time for this. Okay, I can't stress this. The salat, again, remember, I've been harping about this for the last 4 weeks, brothers and sisters. The fundamental things that we need to do to get back, we should go back to this type of thing here. Just the simple things of cleaning up our intentions before we make our salat, and our intentions and so forth, made known. Understanding what our intentions, we have the intentions to please Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then we have the recommended intentions. Remember, we talked about those two differences. The recommended, turning on the light for the family inside the house so they can see when they get up in the morning, or they can see at night to make their last prayer. You understand like this? This is what I'm talking about. Or the caretakers of the masjid, he goes to turn the lights on for Salat al-Maghrib and Isha, so when the worshipers come into the masjid, they can see. These are recommended, but in some ways, he's pleasing Subhanahu wa ta'ala also because he's inside the masjid. This is a little different thing than the husband inside the house. He comes and he turns the lights on so his sons and daughters can make their prayer, and wife can make their prayer, and they can see, inside the house, and so forth and so on. So this is what we're talking about here. And you get a lot of ajr for this, brothers and sisters. To strengthen your intention before the salat, perform dhikr. This is something that will clean up the salat. Because why? When you make dhikr, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is entering your heart. The devil runs away. The shaitan runs away. When you're making dhikr to Subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, or Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, and you're making that dhikr, oh boy, you run away all the enemies of Subhanahu wa ta'ala, the greatest enemy, which is shaitan. And so when he comes around, he brings the shaitan, because they go after a salat. He goes to you and he said, Yahya, you got 5 minutes for salat. Why don't you get on the phone and call Muhammad and talk to Muhammad for about 20, 25 minutes? Then you go ahead and make your prayer. See, He's trying to make you make a distinction with the dunya, because you have to talk to Muhammad. Muhammad, if something's going on at work, or Muhammad has a problem and he needs your assistance. But see, the shaitan will come to you and say, hey, yeah, you know, prayer's coming 5 minutes, but don't worry about that. You just worry about Muhammad right now. See, this is what happens. So when you make dhikr, this thing floats away. You'll go ahead and make your prayer, and then you get on the phone and talk to Muhammad. Now you have just performed your salat, and subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with you, bi'ithnillah. So this is pleasing to Allah ta'ala and brings peace to one's heart. Remember we talking about sakina? That's sakina. I've been saying this for weeks. This is part of that. Anybody who makes a lot of dhikr, a lot of times you will almost fall asleep from the dhikr because it brings peace to the heart and to the mind, and you fall asleep because of it. And it's beautiful when you make dhikr, especially when you're there and and peace comes to you. It's a beautiful thing. But the dhikr will help to strengthen your niyah before the salat. It's important. To combat arrogance before salat, making dua also, beseeching subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove arrogance and the desire to self-advertisement from your heart and action. Brothers and sisters, again, we go back to the issue. Remember we talked about the other day, about the display. How many of us are guilty of displaying ourselves? We do things to get the recognition from the people before the salat, or even after the salat, or inside the masjid, or out there in the public, like in the West, where the brothers occasionally have to go outside to make prayer. We talked about that the other day. And so here you can make the dua before. You make a dua, ask subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove the arrogance from your heart and remove the desire for self-advertisement, meaning self-advertisement, you want to show that you're a Muslim. You live in LA. So again, you go by in front of Starbucks and you get ready to do this salat. So this way, and now you kind of like advertise yourself. You can put on the clothes, say, that are very, very, okay, I give you an example of that by the clothing. You're in LA, you come dressed like me in LA. They're going to look at you because they've seen pictures of people who look like me, and they equate them to who? The mujahideen, or to the Muslim criminals who kill unjustly, dropping bombs and blowing up places. And a lot of those brothers do wear imams. They do follow some things of the sunnah. So they see that, and you're going to attract a lot of attention. You try to remove that from you, because you're living in a land where this type of clothing is not acceptable, and you should not bring unduly attention to you. Yeah, you can wear maybe a gandura, and you can have your kufi. There's nothing wrong with that. You still got your Islamic identity. But this type of thing like this, with a big beard and with the imama, you're going to run into trouble. I suspect if you walk around through the neighborhood, you're going to attract a lot of attention. Probably even the police will come to look at you to see what's wrong with you, if you know what I mean. So now, here we got a part where, again, remember I told you, subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the scholars, the ulama. He loves them. He's got many instances in the Quran, if you do your research, that talks about this, about the scholars and how he's given knowledge and so forth and so on. This is important, that if you want to understand that, and you ask subhanahu wa ta'ala, and subhanahu wa ta'ala grants knowledge to who he pleases. Now, all of us can get it. Some of us will have degrees of knowledge, and some will have some knowledge, but not a lot of it. Others will have a lot more than the others. But you always have to remember something, like my teacher told me in Ghana one time. He said, there's always somebody out there that knows more. He used to always tell me that. See, so should never, again, the arrogance, never say in your mind that you have all of it, because there's somebody come before you, he has more knowledge than you. So be very careful of that. But however, the Muslim, if the Muslim's a scholar, a student of knowledge, Islamic intellectual, mufakir in Arabic, and his salat is done as a learning tool and invitation, then this is acceptable. Here's what we're talking about. Remember, I was talking yesterday about the display. Say if the imam, whose intention is pure, he says, look, brothers, we could say there's 4 or 5 brothers, 6 brothers, 10 brothers. He said, okay, look, can we meet over here at the park? Let's make salat. You follow the imam. Okay, if his intention is good, you're rewarded. If his intention is bad, it's him who gets the demerit. You don't get the demerit because you're following the imam's lead. The imam says, "You look, let's go to the public," because he wants to show how Islam is. It's a religion of peace and how we have our connection to Subhanahu wa Taala. It's a difference. You see, yesterday I talked about people running to the park or front of Starbucks, and they self-advertisement, you see, or they in a display, or some of the brothers who decide that they want to make prayer, and then suddenly you have maybe some punks, gangsters or something, or some rednecks, or something like this, or tuba criminals, and they decide that they're going to start flipping you off. You know what I mean? And then you get up out of the prayer and you run off. Remember, we talked about that. The scholars say, hey, no, this is a display. Well, we have exceptions to that. That's why I didn't want to talk about it yesterday, but we're talking about it today. And I'll get to that in a moment, inshallah ta'ala. So, however, the Muslim who is a scholar, student of knowledge, as I said, his salat is done as a learning tool and invitation. So he decides, he says, look, hey, brothers, let's go over here. You're in Jackson, Mississippi, and you want to bring the brothers and sisters to Islam. A lot of people go to the park because let's face it, let's be honest about something. The black man in America is open for this, more so than anybody else. This is why we come to Islam more than the others, because we already have it. Why is that? Because we have gene pool where we come from Muslim states. That's right. You have ancestors to come from Muslim states. So you have your grandfather, great-great-grandfather's blood who was a Muslim in you. So we have this tendency to accept Islam, very easily. So a place like Jackson, Mississippi, where you have a large black population, and the imam says, look, we're going to go to the park. He's not self-advertisement. His intention is pure. He's pleasing Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, but he's bringing the invitation of Islam to our brothers in Jackson, Mississippi. See the difference. The difference, what I said yesterday, the brothers running for self-advertisement, running to the park. Okay, his intention is good. He wants to make salat, but he also wants recognition from the brothers here in Jackson, Mississippi, that about who he is and what he is. You see what I mean? Imam is not doing that. It's exact opposite. So Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, BFNillah, he will grant this and say it's acceptable action. See, so it's a difference. He encourages followers to follow him, to make salat in the park, etc., to offer salat. In public places as an invitation Islam. He's doing this, again, he may decide, it may be some area there near Starbucks. It's an open area where the brothers, 10, 20, 30 brothers can offer salat, with him leading it. Again, our brother Imam who's doing this, if his intention is clear, he's not doing it for self-advertisement. If he's doing that, it's on him, not you, because you're following the imam of the masjid. You're following him, and you have orders to follow him, and so forth and so on. Not in things haram. That's not what I mean. You know what I mean. But I'm talking about as a general principle, you follow. And the imam, you know him. We know him to be a good man. He calls up everybody, or he sends a message to everybody's phone and telling everybody, hey, look, we're going to go to Cressy Park in Compton. Okay, I don't know if they still got that name, or I don't know if they changed the name, but that's one of my favorite parks. I always have dreams still to this day about that park when I was a little boy playing baseball and so forth there. No, Gonzalez Park is what they call it now. And I still have dreams now and then about that park. That's reminiscence. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I'm an old man now. I kind of remember those days when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I love that park. But you go there and you make the salat, and people come and they watch, and it's maybe invitation. Because I know in Compton, California, we have many brothers who come into Islam. So we have rightful imams who are trying to bring the brothers to Islam. This is acceptable. This is not self-advertisement. This is not a display. You see what I mean? And so this is what we're talking about here. And this is why Islam is so beautiful. We have the one instances here where Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is warning the layman, the common people, about making salat in the public. He warns you, or making a salat in front of Starbucks. He warns you about that. But if the imam, the scholar, comes and he's doing it because he has a right to do it, he has the right intention. He's trying to bring people to Islam. He's trying to bring peace to the community. He's trying to offer Islam for the brothers in Jackson, or in the ATL or in Compton, California to come to Islam? What is a good invitation by seeing us make the salat? See, the imam is rightfully guided. This is approval. He gets rewarded for that. So just remember that, brothers and sisters, the difference. The conditions for the Muslim to leave salat once initiated in public. Again, we're talking about the imam. Now listen, look at this. He wants to perform it in seclusion. Now, okay, before we get to that, here yesterday I told you about, remember, he's looking over, he sees some tubab, racist tubab, okay, criminals, mujrimeen. They're standing there flipping you off, and some of them have bottles, and some are starting to throw things, okay? So you may say, and you get up and you leave. You made a display. You shouldn't do it at this time because but if they do something that's different, that's a different situation. But we have also in Islam, we have what we call salat al-khawf, means the salat of fear, and it's mainly in wartime. And if you look this up in the hadith, they did this in war where you have brothers standing out in front watching the hostile crowd to make sure they protect the brothers. Once the brothers make their prayer, then the brothers who were standing guard, now they make their prayer. This is approved. This is the sunnah. This is approved. And if you could see this, if you remember when they ousted our brother Rahimullah Morsi, President Morsi there in Egypt, you seen what happened there with brothers making salat. They threw water on them. They did many things. People started threatening them. They were throwing things at them. You have brothers standing in the front trying to guard to protect them. This is approved. This is okay. In situations like this, but say if the brothers come in there and say, he tells the imam, I want to follow the imam, but you know what? I don't feel good. I'm not strong enough. I feel I'll get distracted. So he says, I want to make my prayer back in the office. And he can do it. Say his boss lets him, he do it. He get rewarded for it. There's no harm to him because he decides he wants to go make it in seclusion. There's nothing wrong with that. You see the difference, brothers and sisters. So now, here we have, this is not considered display oneself or self-advertisement. Again, like we said, it's not. You said, hey, you know what? This is the way it is. I like to make my prayer in the office. I'm just afraid I'll be distracted if the sisters start running in front of me or the brothers start running in front of me, or I start looking at their cars. I'll get distracted. I'm afraid I'll lose my reward. This is nothing wrong with that. Okay, now we're still getting to the point I'm leading to something. Whoever advertises himself, this is the hadith of our Prophet. This is why the salat in particular and our intentions must be pure, and that salat has to be right on. Whoever advertises himself, Allah will advertise him. Whoever conceals himself, remember we talking about the salat in seclusion, Allah will conceal him. This is an authentic hadith. See, so the brother is approved of this. The brother who self-grabbed the advertisement, he said, okay, you know what? He goes back into the office, he puts on loud clothes, or he puts on an imam, like an imam turban, and he puts on ganduras and so forth. I mean, really authentic Islamic clothing. And he goes now and runs to Gonzalez Park in Compton. Maybe the brothers there, they're more, we know our people are so universal. They're not going to make too much of that. I know in Compton, I know this, and even Long Beach, the brothers, Samoans, Mexicans, nobody pays too, they're not. But in areas where the Tubab, they have a problem, okay? Because they don't come to Islam in droves. They have a problem with this. But in Compton and Long Beach and places like this, they don't have too much of a problem seeing the brothers, even if they dressed in, and I've seen this, I've seen brothers with long beards in Compton and wearing emas, and I've seen even in Honduras. So I'm just trying to make a point to hear that our Prophet ﷺ talks about concealment. There's nothing wrong with that, to conceal yourself, and it's a beautiful thing. And again, if you want to advertise yourself, it's different. But you notice the difference? The imam calls up everybody, or he leaves a message on everybody's phone and says, look, we're going to go to Gonzalez Park in Compton. We're going to do this. We're going to make our salat. We're going to make salat to Asr out there in the park. You follow his lead. And then you go by his lead. This is good. You're not doing self-advertisement because the imam is leading it and you're following his lead. If his intention is wrong, as I said, he will get a demerit for it, not you. Okay, now the scholar or student knowledge that the salat is to commence. He determines now that the crowd could pose a physical threat to the worshipers. Now you notice the difference here. The imam has determined this. He's the leader. Now you get ready to, remember we talked about the display where the brothers say he saw some two-by criminals, and they, it looked like they had bottles and they flipping you off, they calling you bad names. And you say, uh-oh, and then you fly off. You shouldn't have flying off because they're standing there. They're not doing anything. But if the imam determines that the crowd could pose a physical threat to the worshipers, so he abandons the salat in public, this is acceptable. It is his right to make that call because he is in charge of the salat. He is the imam. If he determines that they pose this type of threat, he could abandon and say, hey, look, man, we got to leave Gonzalez Park. Look at the brothers over here. I don't like this. I feel maybe somebody got a gun. I don't know. He has the right. You follow his lead. There's no harm to you, brothers, who follow your imam. And he says he makes that determination. It's between him and Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala will examine his intention and so forth. It's not you're not fault at this because you had the right intention. You're following your leader. And he determines now, hey, we got to get out from Gonzalez Park because this was, I think it's going to happen. You follow his lead and you're rewarded for it because you follow the imam. This is not considered to be self-advertisement or displaying oneself for recognition. The imam is not trying to do that. It's his responsibility to please Subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is a special position. He has a special covenant with Subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect the worshipers, right? To train them, to guide them, to lead them, right? This is the imam, it means leader. And it's him. He is authorized to protect the worshipers. And again, at Gonzalez Park, he determined, he said, man, he saw all of a sudden a whole bunch of people roll up on the place. And especially you get outsiders, like the Tubab. I mean, racist Tubab, they come and suddenly you see them pull up in droves. The imam said, hey, man, there's only 10 of us. There's 10 cars out there and there's about 20 or 30 look like, Tubab criminals. So now you have to, and the imam says, hey, it's time to get out of here. You follow his lead, no harm. You're not displaying yourself. There's no self-advertisement to this. You're doing this because the imam has ordered it and it's his job to protect the worshipers. Those who follow the imam are covered since the guilt lies in the imam, as I said, and his niyyah will be examined by Allah. Always remember that, brothers and sisters. You keep your niyyah correct. You follow the imam. The imam says, we do this, you follow him. Now, if he makes something, now, look, we have to be sensible here. If the imam suddenly tells you, let's go into an area where it's a known hideout for the Nazis and the places like this, and there's only 5 or 6 of you, I'm not going to follow the imam, especially if we've had racial turmoil consistently from this area. They don't want to see us there. So why are we going to put it? We have an hadith and we have something where we never put ourselves in peril. You go there 5 or 6 and say 20, 30, 40 of them come after you. You're not going to be able to defend yourself very well. You see, and you can get in trouble. And the imam will get in trouble if one of you guys are hurt by this hostile racist crowd and you go in the area. See, the imam has to be prudent too because he has to protect the followers. And this is important. It is very important that he protects the followers. Okay, brothers and sisters, we have 4 qualities of correct intention for the salat. And you have to have this. And again, I know many say this is mundane. Hey, I don't care what the Yahya says. I get up and I just go run to make my salat. What was your intention? What was it before that? You have to understand, and you have to understand your religion. It's more than just what you think. You have to follow and learn the religion. You have to learn, you have to get education in the religion. And this is why we have this. Because that way you'll be on a straight path to Subhanahu wa ta'ala by your education. The 4 qualities of correct intention for the salat. The presence of heart. the full sight of mind. 3, complete submission to the requirements of the prayer. Humility of the limbs of the body. These are basically self-explanatory. Self-explanatory. Because here, Subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in our heart. And we have to have the presence of heart, meaning that intention should be pure. The full sight of mind. The mind should not be cluttered, filled with the arguments you've had with your boss, or so forth and so on, or filled with anxiety because your son is not doing well in school. The school wants to suspend him, so you have that anxiety. What you're going to do? Are you going to send him to another school? The things of the dunya, in other words, that make the mind and the heart heavy, and it's going to mess up your salat, where your salat is not good. Complete submission to the requirements of the prayer, meaning, again, if our prophet has determined that the salat asr is 4 rakats, and you have to do certain things before this, and so forth and so on, you make sure you have complete submission to that. You're supposed to make wudu, you make wudu, because if you visited the restroom before that, you have to have that. Or if maybe you visited the restaurant 1 hour before salat, you still must make wudu and to purify yourself before you go to the salat. And then humidity of the limbs. The limbs follows everything else. If the mind is cluttered, the limbs are not going to be right. The limbs, humidity of the limbs, that all of this coincides with one thing: the presence of the heart, the full sight of mind, the complete submission. The limbs will follow. If you have deviation in any of these, the limbs are going to follow where the deviation goes. So this is where we have to be very, very mindful and cognizant of that. The scholars have said that whoever prays without the presence of heart, here we go, he's a worshiper at play. See, if you don't have the right presence, okay, if you're looking for self-advertisement or you trying to promote yourself, here you're going to get in trouble for that. Scholars have determined that whoever prays without the presence of heart, his worship is a worshiper at play. He's playing. See? So this is one of the things, again, that we have to be very mindful of. Second, whoever prays without the full presence of mind is a heedless worshiper. I'm worried about my son. I know there's something going on in school. He's having a lot of fights. The principal's called me many times. I have to go to the school to talk to the principal because they're calling me because my son is having problems in the school. You see, these things can be very, very troublesome on the heart and the mind. So you have a heavy heart, and your head is full of because you don't know what to do about your son, and so forth. Now it's time to make salat. Your salat is not going to be good because why? You're not going to be talking to Subhanahu wa ta'ala. You'll be worried about the dunya. This is what we're talking about here, and we're human beings, and we know that. This is why I'm talking about cases like this, so we can try to make focus for the 5-10 minutes that you make that salat. You focus on the completeness of your prayer, vis-a-vis Allah Ta'ala. Then you worry about what you're going to do. As a matter of fact, you may come up with an answer after your prayer. If you submit to Subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for his guidance, he may just give you a remedy or an answer to this problem. You'd be surprised. Things like this happen many times, brothers, especially me. I'll be thinking about something and suddenly, okay, it's time for me to go to prayer. I go to prayer, and Subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and gives me the good suggestion. This is the good, dutiful Muslim who is sincere and tries to work towards the betterment of the ummah, but not only that, trying to please Subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows that. So, and he may give you an answer to a problem that you didn't expect, and he gives it to you at the time of prayer. This happens, brothers and sisters. It happens quite often. Whoever prays without the complete submission of the limbs, he is a worshiper who is worshiping incorrectly. Again, brothers, if you're worried or your heart is not good, you have treachery, you have things going on, you're doing things that you should not do. If your heart is not right, I'll give you an example of that. Say the brothers who out there are messing around. He's got a wife at home. He's out there messing around on the street. What's going to happen here? Your heart is not clean. It's going to be very difficult for you because you're going to have that stain of shaitan there on you. And you're not going to be able to worship well. Even though you may think you're worshiping well, but because now you have done things to anger subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you're out there playing with a woman that you should not be playing with. You have a wife at the house, and you're out there playing on the street. So how can you worship? You're not going to be able to worship good. You may think you're going to worship good, but you can't, because you have this lingering rizza, which is a stain, shaitan on you. Look at Surah 8. And subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this. He sends, remember, the water down to what? Remove the stain, the rizza of shaitan from you. Okay, so if you are in a situation where you're out there, or the brother who's out there selling drugs, slinging dope, how can he worship? How can he worship good? He cannot. His complete submission from his limbs it's not going. You know why? Even if he make wudu, his hands are not clean. Why? Because he's slinging dope. See? So, or his hands are not clean because why? His hands are on a woman that he should not be on. He's got some paramour out there. He's doing things. He's out there slinging dope. His hands are not clean. You're not going to be able to do the complete submission because you have this grateful sin there, especially if you're doing it all the time. So be mindful of that, brothers and sisters. Now, whoever prays with the four principles in mind is a complete loyal worshiper. This is what our scholars said. I agree. I hardly agree with them. Whoever prays with the four principles, you master those four principles of the intention of the salat. Brothers, sisters, you're on your way. You are now a complete loyal worshiper. You're a movement. This is not easy to do, but now you have it. So you can work on this. Now you have the impetus. I'm giving you this. Now you can work on this to improve that. All of us have to improve. Every single one of us. There's none of us who walk around here perfect. Even our best of scholars of today, they still have to improve on their iman, because we have to, because we're human beings, we make mistakes. So we see that a direct correlation between the worshiper and Allah by doing rightfully guided actions moves one closer to Allah's reward. That good intention, brothers and sisters, with subhanahu wa ta'ala in mind, will bring you closer to him. You get your reward for that. It's not hard in this regard to understand that. You try to do the best we can. We cannot walk perfect through the day. We're going to say things, we're going to do things that are wrong. Okay, we're not talking major sin, we're talking about smaller things. So you try to do your best, but you have to understand you have that correlation between you as a worshiper and subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have that. That's where that salat comes in. That salat will bring you close to subhanahu wa ta'ala. You go make your wudu, you have the good intention. Now you go down and you make your sujood, you make your prostration to subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Now it's between you and him. You talk to subhanahu wa ta'ala. You ask him, you beseech him. This is what these actions move you closer to subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if you have been slinging dope, you've been slinging dope out there, but something come to you. Now, subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened your heart up again. He gave you sakina, and he's told you, you got to stop slinging the dope. Now you come and you humble yourself in prayer. Now you're starting to become clean because subhanahu wa ta'ala may have forgiven you. That's a mighty thing. And many brothers have said this. They have been doing things wrong, like the gangsters who come into prison. And suddenly they meet the OG Muslim. He guides the young brother. And the brothers all talk about what has happened to them when they made their salat. It's like things been thrown off them. I'm talking when they first make the salat, like Malcolm talked about the same issue. So you see what I mean? It's the salat, the correlation between you and subhanahu wa ta'ala. When your intentions are correct, the actions will follow. When you make right intentions, even if you've been slinging dope, even if you've been out there fornicating, and subhanahu wa ta'ala opens you up and you ask for forgiveness, you go down there, you'll have this tranquility, you'll have this feeling of sakina in you, because you feel subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven you. This is a big thing, and he's giving you a reward. Yes, you done wrong, but now you ask for forgiveness. Subhanahu wa ta'ala might forgive you, bi'idhnillah. So I'm giving you this to help all of us. When actions are rightfully guided, the intention follows. We've been saying this. When the intentions are duly for the sake of Allah Ta'ala, the actions follow the intention. You see, the intentions and the actions are interrelated. You can't have one without the other. If you have bad intentions, your actions are going to be bad. If you have good intentions, the actions, again, if those who go to follow the enemies of Islam, your intention is bad, and your actions will be bad. I don't care if you say you need money and he told you he's going to give you $50 per week to go follow people in LA. Hey, so what? That money is no good. Even if we know you need to feed your family, that money is not good. And the intention is bad. And the action that followed is bad. That's a prime example of that, brothers and sisters. And again, the example of this is the devout Muslim. Now, this is, again, the other side of this. We have the person who's running to go assist the enemies in LA. Okay, the enemies of Islam, you go to assist them. Now, we have the other brother that's over in LA. He's this. Example of this is devout Muslim driven to follow the Sunnah. His intention is sincerely driven, so his action will follow his intention. You see the analogy, brothers and sisters, what we're talking about here? You have these brothers here, and we have these sisters too. We have a sister that's walking around in LA, she's wearing a hijab. And now we know what's happening in LA. I lived in LA. I mean, you got beautiful girls running all over the place, half naked, all the men looking at them. But you have this sister who's devout. She wants to move closer to subhanahu wa ta'ala. She wants to follow the sunnah. So she goes in a hijab and she wears loose fitting clothing. She may be beautiful herself. And she, she's driven to do this. This is a prime example. You see her intention is good, is sincere, is trustworthy. Okay, and her actions, she put on the hijab, she puts clothes that don't reveal her ornaments, and the action is good. It shows you the correlation between the two of the intention and the action by those two examples. Our sister driven to follow the sunnah. She's driven for this. She's driven to please subhanahu wa ta'ala. Her intention is good, her action follows. That action, because she wears the hijab. She wears the clothes. She presents herself in the right manner. If a man comes to ask her out for a date, she's a beautiful young sister. Yes, we all have our desires. And maybe this guy is very handsome. He's a young punk, a hip hop, and so forth and so on. And she says, no, I'm sorry, I'm a Muslim. I cannot do this. We do not date. And plus, you're not a Muslim. And if he is a Muslim, you just be polite with him and say, look, you can't come talk to me. You want to talk to me? You call my father. That's how you handle a situation like this. But I'm giving you this example to show you the intention and the action are one. If the intention is good, the action will be good. If the intention is bad, the action is going to be bad. So I hope, brothers and sisters, we settle some issues today, and I'll still got some more classes in the action, and I'm hoping that you got something out of this. If you feel it's mundane, brothers and sisters, I understand this, but I'm gonna tell you something. You can get hurt by not what you don't know, okay, and what you wish for. If you wish to be a mundane Muslim, not to learn anything, subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you that. It's gonna hurt you. But if you seek the knowledge from subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will guide you to the people who give you the knowledge to help you come closer. Because those who are the modern Muslims who just go through the motions, they're not close with subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't like that. Because matter of fact, that's a nawaqid. That's one of the nullifiers of Islam, because they don't want to learn. They don't want anything. If they just say, okay, I'm a Muslim and that's all. They may pray, they may not pray. But but we have to be very careful on what we wish for. But when we wish for the good, we get the reward from subhanahu wa ta'ala. No doubt about it. When we wish for this and we ask, like our dear sister who's driven to follow the sunnah, she's driven. Yes, she lives in an area, LA, where the women are LA everywhere. The women are half naked. Some are very beautiful. They show their long hair. They wear a lot of makeup, a lot of perfume. The sister said, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to follow my sister predecessors, okay? And I'm going to follow the wives of the Prophet. This is a noble thought. So she dresses properly. She wears the hijab, and she carries the hijab not only just by the clothing, but her actions. When the punk comes to try to date her, she said, no, this is against our sunnah. This is against our sharia. I cannot do this, and so forth. You see what I mean? This is a driven sister who's devout. This is what we talk about here. Her actions are sincere, and her intentions are also sincere that led to the action. So, my brothers and sisters, I will leave you with that, hoping today that you got something out of this, which I did. It helps to refresh my memory and also helps to re-educate me as well. So my brothers and sisters, inshallah ta'ala, those who will see this, if you want to spread this tape, please do this. And those who support me, again, Jazakallah khairan. I really appreciate that. Barakallah fi. I appreciate that a lot, my brothers and sisters. So I'll leave you with beautiful words of Jannah. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.